Many of us have heard of the Shimabara Rebellion, where Christian peasants revolted against the Tokugawa shogunate following heavy taxes and religious persecutions. The rebels led by Amakusa Shiro were outnumbered 5 to 1, and while there have been bigger military upsets before, one must remember that these were irregulars who had to attack, not just defend, and had to take out at least Shimabara and Amakusa, if not all of Kyushu. As sad as it may be, they couldn't win. There are 3 notable routes in which Japan could have possibly become a Christian country in its history, all of which took place during the Sengoku period. These are if the Hanaji incident never happened, if Ishida Mitsunari won the Battle of Sekigahara, or if a Christian daimyo conquered Japan or a region of it. That being said, while Japan's conversion would likely involve political means, spreading the gospel to more people would greatly help. The Jesuits would have been more successful in this if Francisco Cabral hadn't been made the head of the Japanese mission. While Francisco Cabral was not a bad person by any means, his insistence on standing apart from the Japanese rather than adjusting to Japanese culture for the 10 years he led the mission contradicted both Paul's advice and chapter 9 of 1 Corinthians and reduced the number of converts. Imagine trying to convert someone without even being able to speak the language. Well, that's what they did. Luis de Almeida or Gennady Soto Argentino would have made better mission heads for this period of time instead. Out of the 3 unifiers of Japan, Oda Nobunaga was the most favorable towards Christians. Christian missionaries had been active in Owari province, the Oda clan's home province, since 1566, and converted many Oda clan members. These include Oda Nagamasu, his brother, and Oda Hidenobu, his most senior grandson and heir's heir. While many Japanese clans tolerated Christians in order to gain access to their arquebus guns and other trade goods, Oda Nobunaga went beyond this. Not only did he befriend foreigners and welcome Jesuits, he learned about many of Christianity's teachings, although he never formally converted himself. Anyways, in regards to Route A, while the true reason why Akechi Mitsuhide betrayed Oda Nobunaga in the Hanaji incident is shrouded in mystery, a probable reason is how Oda Nobunaga had mistreated him. Louis Freud and many others have commented on this, and if one of them had recommended him to treat him with honor and love, he may very well have kept his life and had allowed Christianity to flourish under his rule. Christianity wouldn't just flourish under his rule though, as in 2 generations, his Christian grandson, Oda Hidenobu, would take rulership over Japan and likely further propagate his faith throughout Japan. Now, the Battle of Sekigahara was the biggest battle in medieval Japanese history, and essentially decided Japan's destiny for the next 250 years. Needless to say, if something different happened here, Japanese history would be radically different. Many events could have shifted the balance in Ishida's favor, but probably one of the most effective would just be the Mori, Kakawa, Ogawa, and Ikaza clans realizing that Tokugawa Ieyasu could very well screw them over anyways in spite of their betrayal of Ishida and continuing to fight for him. With Christians on both sides of the conflict, this battle was always bound to harm the spread of Christianity in some areas of Japan while helping it in others. However, as Tokugawa Ieyasu would ban Christianity in 1612, leading to centuries of persecution, it is clear that Christianity could not thrive under his influence. On the other hand, while Ishida's policies regarding Christianity are not exactly known, what is known is that he would have been a far weaker ruler than Tokugawa Ieyasu. While the Tokugawa clan was 3 times stronger than his own strongest ally, the Ishida clan was 6 times weaker than his own strongest ally, even being suppressed in strength by one of their Christian allies, the Konishi clan. Additionally, Western Japan was much more focused on trade with the outside world than Eastern Japan and was more Christian as a result. With the West being Ishida's main supporters, winning the Sekigahara campaign, they would both demand concessions from Ishida such as improvements for their domains, trading rights, titles, and greater domains, and effectively be able to stop any move at centralization by Ishida Mitsunari or the person he was supporting to be the ruler of Japan, Toyotomi Hideyori. This would result in Japan's isolationist Sakoku policies enacted by the Tokugawa unthinkable, as well as prevents any nationwide ban on Christianity, although persecution would likely occur in certain clans, such as the Mori. This would give Christianity the ability to continue spreading and potentially spread all across Japan. However, as happened with the decline in authority of the Ashikaga shogunate, this would likely prolong the Sengoku period, which could result in the rise of another shogunate, potentially anti-Christians. Top contenders to rule this new shogunate would include the Mori, Usugi, Shimazu, Gamo, Yukita, Satake, Maida, and Date clans, as well as the Tokugawa clan remnants. The Yukita, Maida, and Date clans welcomed and protected Christians, and the Gamo clan was Christian. On the other hand, the Mori clan, the most powerful of these clans, was unfortunately anti-Christian. As such, this plan could backfire, but under a Toyotomi or Ashita shogunate, Christianity would certainly prosper in many areas of Japan. Our last route involves a Christian daimyo taking control of Japan and becoming the shogun. This could involve a powerful non-Christian daimyo converting to Christianity and conquering Japan, or a Christian daimyo conquering Japan. The most likely canons to fill this role will be the Gamo, Otomo, Konishi, Kuroda, and Oda clans, but other clans could too. I could very well calculate ways in which history could favor each of these in their conquest of Japan, but that will have to wait for another video. One of the unfortunate important things to remember is that this didn't really happen. Many times, I wonder why God let certain events play out in history as they did, letting the bad guys win. However, in this case, there's a rather clear answer as to why. In 1910, Japan annexed Korea. The Koreans, of course, not wanting to be taken over in some way, became increasingly nationalistic. These bonds between being Christian and being Korean were strengthened by the presence of a large number of Christians being among the anti-Japanese resistance, with their faith directly opposed to worshipping the Japanese emperor. This bolstered the notion among Koreans that being Christian was being anti-Japanese. This didn't necessarily cement Christianity as South Korea's dominant religion, as only 8% of South Koreans were Christian by 1950. However, with the creation of North Korea and the eternal rivalry created between them, this will create new opportunities for spreading Christianity. In order to protect themselves, South Korea requires over a year of military service for all men. However, the government did not always provide everything its soldiers desired. When it did not, Christian missionaries stepped in to fulfill the soldiers' physical and spiritual needs. This not only made their lives a little bit better here on Earth, but also granted them the opportunity to be saved. Nowadays, Korea is about 30% Christian, something that couldn't have happened had Japan had converted all those years ago, as Koreans converting to Christianity would have been embracing the Japanese rather than opposing them.